We actually do have one more keynote. It's our closing keynote is really a brand that has continued to reinvent itself to stay relevant to the younger generation. And when we put this together, we were thinking, Craig is going to talk all about the metaverse and the places to be to find Gen Z consumers. And our goal with the Old Navy session is to talk about the messaging and how they're continuing to reinvent itself. Just a little context, Old Navy's values, obviously, they focus on inclusivity, opportunity, sustainability. They're known for fun, family, fashion, and value. And as they've evolved, the brand's been around since 1994, but as they've evolved, listening to customers has always been at the core of their strategy. And it's so much so that they crowdsourced their last TV campaign was crowdsourced from comments on TikTok. So to tell us more about this, we have Old Navy CMO and SVP and CMO Jamie Gersh. She's being interviewed by our advisory board member Emily Culp, who's also a board member of Mizzen in Maine, Stio, and Cordial. Unfortunately, Jamie got sick and couldn't join us, but we do have them virtually, and we're thrilled that they could be with us today.
Jamie, it's great to be here with you today. I'm so sorry you're under the weather, but we absolutely all understand and hope you are feeling better.
Thank you. I am feeling much better. Unfortunately, couldn't make it, but thank you for having me still. So appreciated.
Absolutely. Well, I have to admit, Jamie, my family and I are all consumers and have been for many, many years. I'm kind of fascinated. How have you at Old Navy been able to be relevant all this time to so many different types of consumers?
Okay, first, Emily, I need to say thank you for shopping at Old Navy for your family. We love it, never gets old. We love hearing it. And we love hearing that, everyone out there is participating with the brand. And so thank you first. And then, I think what has made Old Navy so special from inception in 1994 to who we are today is the laser focus on who we are from day one. And that has been laser focused on the mission of offering the democracy of style and service to all families. And that is translated to access. And we believe everyone deserves access to amazing product, amazing services, all at a good price. And, if I think about it, when the brand was born in 1994, and I tell this story all the time, staying authentic to who we are has been core, right? We started on the mission of this democracy of style, and inclusivity wasn't a thing back then, right? It's a thing now, but it wasn't a thing back then. But if you think about it, the brand was born on this idea that everyone deserves incredible product and access to incredible product at a great price. So no socioeconomic divide, etc. And that premise has just continued and grown through the years. And what that's meant is us really staying authentic to that mission from day one, but making sure that we stay relevant and tap into culture and trends. And how does that access and democracy of style translate into what's relevant today? And I think that making sure your brand has that laser focus and can stay true to who they are, but make sure they're adapting to the times has been, what I'll call, a key to our success through the years.
I would absolutely agree. I have to ask, as a fellow marketer, how are you currently reaching Gen Z?
Great question. And there's many ways we reach Gen Z, but I think going back to who we were founded on this idea of the belief of democracy, of style and service, extended to access. And that rings true today for this consumer base more than ever, right? They believe in a brand, and they connect to brands that have deep purpose and values. And that is how we stay true to them. And so with that, we had introduced actually recently this, our values-based pillar of the Imagine mission. And that is all about creating a better future for future generations and really focusing on inclusivity, obviously core to who we've been since day one. Opportunity, because at our scale and size, we can provide access and job opportunities to, a large amount of underserved young adults, which I'm super proud of and we can talk about. And then sustainability, knowing how important it is to this consumer group. And so we've only taken what we started and really made it relevant to who we're talking to today with the Gen Z population. And then, oh, go ahead, Emily.
No, you go. Please
Yeah.
keep going.
And one thing I'm really, really proud of, speaking of our inception, and because July 4th is around the corner, I mean, we were, everyone knows Old Navy for their iconic flag tees. I'm sure you've had,
I
I
have a
hope you've been
few.
dressing your
Yes.
family in the iconic flag tee. And we love seeing all the, parades on 4th of July and families outfitted. But this year, what we said was, how do we make it relevant for the Gen Z population? We know this population and this generation is more multicultural than ever. We've had that flag tee designed in-house since day one, 1994. And this year we opened up access and gave access to a diverse set of artists to actually, for the first time ever, design our flag tees. And what I'm most proud of is there's one that is Spanish language this year. And so back to knowing who this generation is, they are multicultural. We know how influenced they are by all different generations or all different cultures coming together. And so we're so proud of that, to be able to offer that. And then yesterday, you'll see that we announced we actually have taken that one step further and we've created NFTs. And so we took our iconic flag
Congratulations
tee.
on that.
I
Yay.
know, I'm so excited about it. So we
Yeah.
have our iconic flag tee dressed on our Magic the dog mascot, who from the beginning was part of this brand. You see him on the front stage in every store. And we collaborated with the Boys and Girls Club, our longtime partner,
Mhm.
going back to Opportunity. And we've co-created a collection of NFTs that are all 94 cents. And so we wanted to provide access to what is typically an inaccessible arena of NFTs, and said,
Right.
how do we get this generation to be able to participate in the way that we want to, stay true to the brand, back to staying true to who we are, and making sure that everyone has access. And so we're so excited that we got to announce this yesterday. They will go live next week, and I hope you go and participate with your kids and go buy one of the 1994 exclusive NFTs.
Well, I think, congratulations on that.
Thank
I
you.
also have to say, I don't know this, you could confirm it. I'm guessing possibly your core consumer might skew towards women. I don't know if that's true or not. What I love about what you're doing with that too is making it accessible for women, because predominantly so far, NFTs, it definitely has skewed slightly towards males getting into that whole space. So I think that's absolutely wonderful on a number of different fronts.
Thanks. Such a good point. And yes, we have done endless research and know that women have not participated. So for us, it was women and it was families. Like, how do you do this together? And at a 94-cent entry rate, you can make this accessible and do this with your families and have some fun. And the designs are amazing because they were, they're so fun. They're on Magic the dog with flag tees, and they were inspired and co-created with kids. And so they're awesome. And I'm so proud of the team for what they did.
Nice job. So, speaking of your focus on consumers, I have to say, I have two children, and we are big fans of your latest consumer driven campaign. I would love to hear more about, how did your consumers get involved, how it was produced, and how it's performing. I'm just in awe. And I will admit, you have two people, my two children, who are ready to sign up for the next one.
Thank you. Well, my 9-year-old keeps asking to be in the next commercial too.
We can have them do production together, I
That's
guess.
right. That's right. Well, we are so proud of the latest platform that we introduced in spring. It was really inspired by a gentleman named Sam. And, we always are out there listening to our consumers. We're out in social media just like everyone is. And we came across this video of Sam, who's a high school student in Florida. And
Wow.
he was just jamming out saying, this is what I think an Old Navy commercial should be. And we knew that based on the premise of what we just talked about and giving
Mhm.
access, and the idea of access to our brand, and really threading this idea of democracy and access through, this was the perfect way to do that. And for a brand that's been so focused for years on, focusing on product and seasonally relevant categories, this was a great pivot and reason for us to pivot, because we heard what was going on out in social media and we wanted to take that to the next level. And so let's play Sam to get it started. I mean, how amazing is he? And then what happened? So then all of a sudden, we saw thousands of comments starting to respond to Sam and say, this is what I want to see in an Old Navy commercial. And we knew we had something on our hands. And so we took that and scoured through every single comment and said, how do we create the best commercial, all based off of what people want to see and giving them access and letting them be the creators. And what I love so much is that we actually went out, found all of the people we've used, and actually we're paying them as creators and writers,
That's amazing.
and really making sure that they are valued, and really, paid for their work, because it is their work and their ideas.
I just applaud you on doing that. That's great that you reached out to them. I will say, at least for me and my family, what we loved is what a positive note it hit on. The positivity that came through, and the campaign was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's been amazing to see the response. People just have flooded of, here's now what I want to see. And so the
Mhm.
conversation just has continued. But I think what would be amazing before we get into that is to play the spot so you can see how it all came to life.
The rest of my life gon' start today. Good morning. The rest of my life gon' start today.
I mean, I love it.
And there are so many parts. Everyone always is like, what's your favorite part? And I, between the dads dancing and then someone actually saying, don't forget the logo at the end. I mean, it's amazing, right?
I did love that as a marketer, definitely.
Exactly.
Now that's amazing. So how is it doing, the campaign right now?
It's doing amazing. And so we test all of our spots. We want to hear from consumers. Obviously, this is out. We push it out social media, etc. And everyone is just so excited that we actually did this and actually followed through with every single part of it is created by social media and what we heard from consumers. And so it spurred, summer and what's out now. And when we went out and said, what should summer look like? The, the amazing piece was that the consumer response was, we want to see Heather McMahon in your commercials. And Heather has been a longtime fan of Old Navy, and back to being authentic to who you are. She has loved us and been an influencer. For those of you who don't know, go follow Heather. She's hysterical. But she's been a longtime fan of Old Navy. She's come to town halls and just has always loved us. And so when we saw that actually consumers were like, we need Heather in a spot, that was like the winning ticket. And so we were fortunate enough to get Heather, and she has just done an incredible job, being, keeping the campaign fresh. Because I think what's important is, how do you keep this fresh? There's obviously something there. Consumers love it, employees love it, we love it, but there is something to make sure that we consistently stay fresh. And so to be able to have Heather in the second iteration of this was just, we were so thrilled.
So when do we see the next installment? Are you able to share that?
In mid-July, back to school and fall
Okay.
come, and it continues to build and iterate, and we're excited for you all to see it soon.
So does that mean consumers have already participated, or people still can?
Consumers have already participated, but keep coming in, because we're going to continue this, and we want to hear, and we want the ideas flowing.
Awesome. I look forward to it. I'll let my family know. So thank
Please.
you. So you know what? You just mentioned back to school. I will say, I can't believe this. School's already out here in New Jersey, but already in thinking about back to school planning. I guess I'd be interested to know how at Old Navy you guys are thinking about, all the inflationary pressure that parents are starting to go through, and what you're doing. I'd be fascinated.
Yeah, such a good question. I mean, we, back to staying culturally relevant and on
Mhm.
trend, while it may not be flashy and the latest celebrity, so important to be in touch with what, consumers are going through. And you can't turn on
Mhm.
the news and not understand what our consumers are going through, whether it's gas prices, groceries, etc. And so we really took that to heart, and it really hit a nerve with us and said, how do we help our consumers? And really listening and thinking about what are we going to do heading into back to school? We know moms they're spending on average $270 per kid for back to school. That is a lot of money when
It
you see
is.
what is going on with all the other necessities they need. And we really took that to heart and said, what can we do? And so we came up with this initiative that I'm very, very proud of, called Price on Lock. And we're able to take our kids' everyday fashion essentials. So everything like, key core dresses, leggings, t-shirts,
Leggings. Yeah.
tanks, and your staples, everything you need for your kids' staples. And we're locking in prices from now until through
Mhm.
back to school. And it is something that, again, back to, it's not the flashiest, it's not a celebrity, but talk about being in touch with your customer and staying on top of what is in the zeitgeist. What's in the zeitgeist is what our customers are going through, and from an inflationary perspective, and to be able to offer that and really turn it into something fun. So, when you see the lockup, you'll see it has ON as on lock. And
Oh,
really,
that's great.
it felt like Old Navy, and in our only Old Navy way, but offering something, that we know our customers need. And I feel, being back to, making sure you're empathetic to your customers and your
Yep.
employees. Nothing is screaming more empathy at this time than understanding that, they have a tight wallet and they need to send their kids back to school, and they want to, be proud of what their kids are wearing on their first day. And so very, very proud of this one.
I think that's amazing because that impacts not only the children, but the parents and the
Yes.
whole ecosystem. So I applaud you guys on that.
Thank you.
Speaking of other interesting initiatives that you've done, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I personally was fascinated reading all about it. The whole bod equality initiative that you did and program, and in particular, how you're continuing to address sizing, inventory issues, and things like that.
Yeah. So bod equality, so proud of this initiative. And back to democracy of, style and service. Nothing says democracy more than making sure we're offering all of our customers access to great fitting product, a great experience, to be honest. And that's what this was all formulated off of, is we listened to the extended size customer, and frankly all of our customers, and heard that they wanted more access. And that is what we gave them. And we're still very, very proud of it, very, very committed. But as you listen to customers, you listen, and then you also make sure you're listening to how they're responding. And what we're finding is in that some stores, we need to optimize inventory. And so it's not that we don't believe in the initiative. Online, we will still carry every size or every style in every size at equal
Of
price.
course.
But in stores, we need to optimize and meet the customer where they are, and make sure we're
Mhm.
meeting the demand of what we're seeing in those stores with the customer, response there. So we are still very, very committed. Online, you will see the full offering, and in stores, we're just, tweaking and learning and constantly learning to make sure we're staying on top of, customer demand to meet the inventory.
That makes total sense. And it goes back to, I think, what you said earlier on. You're listening to your consumers. And some consumers, too, also may only want to shop online for certain sizes. And if you're learning that, that makes sense that you're reflecting it in store. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Um, Speaking of other types of consumers in response, I will fully admit I have two budding environmentalists in my family. And my gosh, are they asking the hard questions at dinner? And I'm not kidding, around sustainability, because they're learning, whether it's through Earth Day at school or different initiatives, they're asking questions on sourcing, water, carbon footprints, things like that. I'd love to hear a little bit about how Old Navy is addressing that. So honestly, I'm equipped to answer these tough questions.
And I have three budding environmentalists at home too, so it is very
You
relevant about
understand.
it's very relevant personally and professionally. So happy to answer. And at Old Navy, at our size and scale, we feel a real responsibility, and we have the
Mhm.
ability to impact in huge ways. With all that said, it is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so, it is a journey to make sure that we are doing the right thing over and over again. And with that said, we've put out some really, really amazing goals that we've hit. And then there's some loftier goals that will take us some more years to hit. What I'm really proud of in the short term is a couple of things. The first is around plastics. And so we know, I know my kids, plastic water bottles, such a hot topic, right? So
Ziploc.
plastic
Yes.
completely, Ziplocs, plastic
Yes.
bottles resonates with this audience. And so what we see is that, and what we found was that was one of the number one things our customers cared about was plastic, because they associated plastic water bottles right away. And so we said, what can we do immediately? And so we immediately instituted a plastic hanger recycling program that I'm happy to say 100% of our stores participate in now. And that by the end of 2023, we will have no more plastic shoppers in our stores. We will have all paper shoppers and be
Oh, that's
completely
great.
transferred over. So really amazing progress on the plastic initiatives at Old Navy. And then denim, let's talk about denim. Huge category for us, and we know a huge drain on water across the industry.
Mhm.
Proud to say by the end of this year, we will be making our water with 100% denim water saving techniques. And so again, back to how do we really find those major categories and things that are draining the environment? So plastic, water, two were the key initiatives, first out of the bat. So those two we feel really great about. And then you'll see a Going Greener shop on our site. And that gives the customer the ability to say, if I want to go shop and figure out how do I shop better, how do I make
Right.
it easier for her and give her access to that? So those little ways. And then longer term, we have a ton of work going on around recycled fibers. We have a ton of work going on around circularity. And again, back to it's a journey, and we are fully committed. And back to where I started with the Imagine mission and sustainability being a key pillar of our values-based work, it's all in service of creating a better future for future generations. Being a family brand, we know there's nothing more important than leaving this planet better than it is for us today, for our kids and the future, and all of the sustainability initiatives ladder up to that.
Well, and I also just appreciate your transparency. It is a journey. None of this can be done overnight, but that's great that you're taking the steps to make the impact that you guys want to. Speaking of just how consumer focused that you are and Old Navy is, I'd be interested to get your thoughts on your current consumer, as she potentially moves through engaging with Old Navy. It might be on her phone, then she might be possibly browsing in store, returning in store, and then maybe back on her laptop. I'd love to hear about your thoughts on omni-channel.
Yeah. Actually, we haven't talked a lot about data and personalization. We've talked a lot about the creative side,
Right.
but there's, a huge set of data that fuels all of this, and no
Mhm.
different than how we see our customers shop. And our data shows us that our omni-channel customers and our customers that shop multi-channel, no surprise, are our most valuable customers. And so
Right.
we take pride in knowing exactly how she wants to shop, where she wants to shop, and how do we meet her where she is. And so whether that's services like BOPUS and Curbside that has made it easier for her to go from shopping online to picking up in her
Mhm.
store, or seeing what available inventory there is in her store before she spends gas to actually make the trip. Huge,
Right.
right? Is really making sure that that inventory and that whole ecosystem is working together, number one. And then number two, our loyalty program. I can't say enough about the value of a loyalty program, because that gives us the ability to understand how she's shopping across our channels and make sure that whether she's on her phone in the store, or she was in the store and then went back to shop online, we know what she purchased, how she purchased it, and how does she want to be served it in the next time and the next time and the next time. And so really leveraging data and making sure that you have programs in place to make sure you really understand how she's shopping and how to leverage the data across the channels has been a huge unlock for us.
Couldn't agree with you more on the data and the insights. So thank you for highlighting that as well. I'd love to give you an opportunity. Is there anything else, possibly like any parting wisdom to this fabulous group of people listening right now that you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think two things, if you took away anything, it was the authenticity to the brand and really staying true to who you are and being authentic. And that doesn't mean staying old. It means being true to who you are, but staying and really tapping into what's relevant and how do you make that relevant for today. And I think, leading with purpose and values that started from the beginning and carries through to today has been, one of the main reasons we've been so successful. And then, I think listening to the customer and really staying true to staying on top of where they are, what they want. Things are changing so quickly. I can't say enough about making sure that, you're out there listening in whatever way, shape, or form it is. That has been a huge learning for me along the way.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie. This was wonderful, and I hope you continue to feel better. And I really enjoyed this time together.
Thank you, Emily. And I'm looking forward to sending you and your family some clothes.
Sounds wonderful. We will welcome it with open arms.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.